now.
Shelby County deputies shoot and kill a suspect while serving a warrant in the Cherokee neighborhood this afternoon. This is according to Sheriff Floyd Bonner. He was at a press conference this afternoon, in fact. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm Darcy Thomas.
And I'm Daryl Green. This is a story we've been keeping a very close eye on, following since we brought you this as breaking news at 5. Let's go to Fox 13's Jack Bilyeu live on Barron Avenue. That's where it all happened. Jack, the sheriff says that suspect tried to drive his car into the deputies trying to serve that warrant.
Yeah, Sheriff Bonner says this all happened at around 7:30 when those deputies were serving what he called a high-risk narcotics search warrant. That warrant resulted in a death, and now the TBI is investigating.
Upon arrival on the scene, a man waiting in a vehicle sped toward a team of SWAT deputies. Deputies fired at the vehicle, fatally wounding the driver.
Dozens of squad cars headed to Barron Avenue after that deadly shooting. Officers in bulletproof vests surrounded a small shopping center and taped off blocks. Sheriff Bonner says that suspect never fired a shot, but investigators found guns at the scene.
Several firearms with high-capacity magazines have been found by investigators, along with a handgun equipped with a Glock switch.
A Glock switch converts a pistol into an automatic weapon. Bonner says deputies also found a, quote, significant amount of drugs, and that the search continued after the shooting. 4 people were detained, including one who was searched and loaded into a squad car right in front of a Fox 13 camera. On top of that, investigators are still trying to identify several people who ran away from the scene.
There should be charges forthcoming.
Bonner says he's not sure how many deputies fired shots during the incident, but he says they'll be put on administrative leave while the TBI investigates the shooting, which is standard procedure.
Our thoughts and prayers are with all that are involved in this tragic incident.
We are learning new details tonight about a deadly shooting in West Knoxville. The TBI says Knoxville officers shot and killed Jabari Griffen.
Investigators say in a release, officers saw the 25-year-old shoot a woman in the face. 10 News reporter Vinay Simlat joins us now with a timeline. Vinay?
And Robin, the Knoxville Police Department says officers responded to a domestic call on Santala Drive around 7:40 Saturday morning. When they went inside the home, Jabari Griffen shot Winter Basurto, a 23-year-old, in the face. Officers then shot and killed Griffen. Basurto was taken to the UT Medical Center, police say. Basurto's mom's friend, Michelle Braden, says Basurto had facial reconstruction surgery on Sunday. She'll need many more operations because of that shooting, that friend says. Winter will need a tracheotomy and a feeding tube in the meantime.
Vinay, we know the man shot and killed by police did have another violent case at that same home.
Yeah, we've learned Jabari Griffen was charged because of a shooting at the same home in February. Warrants show he was her ex-boyfriend and went to her home with flowers in February to try to get back together with her. When she said no, he destroyed the flowers, pulled a gun, and shot at her car's driver's side tire. He was charged with reckless endangerment with a violent weapon and vandalism. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation is looking into the shooting and the circumstances around it. The officers involved in shooting and killing Jabari Griffen are on administrative leave. The department says it'll release their names later. John, Robin?
Vinay, thank you.
Now at 6, the San Antonio police chief says changes are coming to Fiesta de los Reyes following the shooting that killed 2 people on Saturday. Police are still looking into what started all of it. KENS 5 reporter Meredith Haas is live where the shooting happened at Market Square with what we're learning tonight. Meredith?
Yeah, Chief McManus coming out on Facebook just over an hour ago detailing how next year's Free Market Square event will have bag and backpack checks. They will also be checking people for weapons. Now this comes after police are telling us that just after midnight Sunday, 2 officers heard shots at South Santa Rosa and De La Rosa. When they arrived, officers say 18-year-old Mikey Valdez tried to run, shooting at 20-year-old Albert Sinceros. Now that's when officers shot at them, hitting and killing Valdez. Cisneros would be taken to the hospital where he would later die. 4 other people would be injured, 2 women being shot, but expected to be okay.
This was an isolated incident, again, between two individuals who had some sort of beef, and they decided to take it to Market Square.
One person is dead after a shooting involving an Austin Police Department officer overnight. Now, this happened at the Summer Grove apartment complex on San Felipe Boulevard. Interim Chief of Police Robin Henderson says multiple 911 calls came in just before midnight, reporting loud music and noise coming from the parking lot. At 12:14, another 911 caller reported someone walking around with a gun. Henderson says within that same minute, another caller reported seeing a white man wearing black clothing walking around with a black AR. Gunshots were reported just seconds later and that a person was holding 4 or 5 men at gunpoint. When officers got there, they found a group of people in the parking lot along with the suspect, who was dressed in black and holding a gun. Officers shouted at the man and told him to drop the gun and put his hands up. The suspect did not comply and raised his gun towards the officers. Austin Police Department says that's when the two officers shot at the suspect and hit him. APD officers performed life-saving measures there at the scene, but the suspect later died at the hospital. APD says no officers were injured during the incident and that the officers that fired their weapons are now on administrative leave. This is an ongoing investigation.
Holden, thank you very much. And a crime alert. A shooting suspect is dead after a pursuit with Oregon State Police and Lynn County deputies ending in an officer-involved shooting along Interstate 5 past Harrisburg.
Police say this stemmed from a shooting in the Coburg area that left one person critically injured on Sunday afternoon. KZI 9 News reporter Aaron Ariano is live in Coburg where the initial shooting took place. Aaron, what are we still working to find out?
Chelsea, Adam, we're still waiting to figure out what exactly led up to that initial Coburg shooting that happened here. I'm in the East Pearl Street area. There's a Shell station right behind the camera. East Pearl Street is right behind me, that strip of road right there. You'll see footage in just a second, but there was a huge police presence there after Lynn County Sheriff's deputies as well as Coburg police responding to reports of a shooting. One person was shot and critically injured. Another person driving away from the scene. Take a look at this footage that we have from Sunday afternoon. Some bystanders taking video. You got to see police on the scene checking out a dark colored car after 3 o'clock on Sunday. And then a couple hours later, Oregon State Police and Lynn County Sheriffs say it was 6 o'clock when a vehicle possibly involved in that Coburg shooting was spotted northbound on Interstate 5. OSB police, or troopers I should say, and Lynn County Sheriffs began a pursuit with that vehicle around near Harrisburg on Interstate 5. It later crashed along the shoulder of Interstate 5 after spike strips were used. And then right after that crash is when an officer-involved shooting took place. The driver of that suspected vehicle is dead, and there was a passenger in that car as well. They're injured, and they were taken to the hospital. It's unknown the extent of their injuries or what their condition is this morning or how they got injured. We're waiting for that information. We're also waiting for information on the person that was shot here in Coburg, the person who has those critical injuries. We're waiting for any updates on them as well. Back out here live, we know that no law enforcement officer was injured in any of these scenes, but up there at the Interstate 5 officer-involved shooting, those officers are going to be on administrative leave as Albany Police investigates that officer-involved shooting. But again, we're still waiting to figure out a number of things here. We want to know what led up to that Coburg shooting. We want to know the conditions of those two people that were hurt yesterday. And when we get those answers, we will bring them to you here on KZI 9 News. For now, reporting live in Coburg, Aaron Ariano, KZI 9 News.
All right.
We've learned an officer-involved shooting late Sunday morning in Beloit has turned fatal after the suspect shot dies at a local hospital. As is protocol, the Division of Criminal Investigation at the Wisconsin Department of Justice has taken over the investigation. Here's what we know so far. Around 9:45 this morning, officers were called to the 1700 block of Ashland Avenue. That's just a few blocks from the intersection of Chopir Road and Prairie Avenue. Investigators say when officers arrived, they saw a man with bladed weapons advancing towards another person. Officers told the armed man to put his weapons down, and when he did not comply, an officer fired at the suspect, where he later died. No law enforcement was hurt during the incident. The officer who fired the shots is now on administrative leave, which is agency policy. Investigators say the officers at the scene were all wearing body cameras.